The partnership with Coforge is hugely important to Pegasystems, and I just want to say how grateful I am that you've really embraced Blueprint as a core part of how you think about going to market.
Blueprint, I believe, is a game changer. One of the things I think that differentiated Coforge from the last 7 or 8 years has been our decision to focus on that intersect between domain, functional aspect, and technology, and at that intersect point, deliver value. To me, Blueprint AI actually facilitates that. You take our functional experts and actually they work with our customers day in, day out, and actually can use that to really ideate a problem statement, an objective, very, very quickly in front of the customer, get the customer to partake, and actually come up with an outcome very, very quickly that really resonates with our customers.
You know, John, I actually think that, if we are serious and sincere about putting the best interests of our customers first, then it's incumbent upon us to bring them the best solution we can to whatever problem we're trying to solve for them. And so when I think about Blueprint, I think that it's informed by Pega's IP, whatever IP the customer might give us, whatever it could learn from the web, but it doesn't know what our partners know. And so that if we know that a partner has intellectual property that would make that end solution even better for the buyer, it's almost our responsibility, it's almost incumbent upon us to introduce that partner to the solution so that the buyer gets the best outcome. And frankly, I believe that Coforge and your domain expertise in so many different areas is the right partner for so many of our customers and so many of their problem areas. Tell me a little bit about some of the areas where Coforge is really specializing.
Obviously, we've been specializing in airlines, airports, banking, financial services, and insurance for a long, long time, and we're widely known in those areas. But what we're actually also doing is we're expanding into areas such as public sector, healthcare, and non-profit. And what we're finding with Blueprint is it actually enables us to take an idea, take some of our IP and understanding of customer systems, extract using our own IP, such as CodeInsightAI, and actually take that as the input into Blueprint to actually enrich the collation of data that Blueprint does with other, as you said, the World Wide Web and so on. And the actual outcomes that it's producing are off the charts.
John, we just went live with a great public sector customer. I don't know that we can name them, but why don't you tell a little bit about some of the benefits that we actually delivered?
Yeah, that was it's a countrywide rollout supporting many millions of target customers, being used by in excess of 2,000 users. It's a legacy modernization story. It actually provides telephony, decision support, CRM capabilities, workflow solutions, and will become the bedrock for AI and agentic AI in the future. But what I love about it, one of the key drivers of that program was to improve the experience of the employees providing those services in that country. And from what we're seeing, it's off the charts, and it's a real game changer for our customer.
You know, John, I have a theory that I just want to run by you, that Blueprint actually solves one of the biggest problems our clients have, which is the experience of buying software is actually pretty miserable. And frankly, it's full of incredible risk. I mean, that story is amazing, a countrywide rollout. I mean, boom, and it's working brilliantly. Okay, but I mean, when you think about it, okay, the 70% of all the IT projects in some way miss the mark. I mean, 20% of them never go live. 50% of them either run over budget, are late, or end up going live with not all the functionality that was originally planned. So when you think about it from a buyer's perspective, it's pretty risky to make the decision to implement a project. But I think with Blueprint, what we have is a certainty of outcome, because the blueprint the buyer sees is going to be the application the buyer gets. The blueprint that the users work with to judge their experience is going to be the experience they get. And if you base the statement of work off that blueprint, well, they have a certainty of outcome, they have a certainty of cost, and they have a certainty of being able to safely introduce AI into a mission critical application within the organization. I mean, really, it provides our buyers with an incredible story of success. And I don't know that it was there before Blueprint.
No, I think it is a game changer. I mean, what I love doing with customers, with partners, is here's a keyboard. You do it. So in actual fact, instead of me and my sales teams actually trying to sell or just show, we get the customer themselves to actually do the creating. I mean, I had an example not long ago where I was talking to an MD at one of the global sustainability consulting firms. And I turned around to him, I said, this is an amazing, amazing capability that's been provided to all and sundry. I said, come here. And what I did, I said, give me an example of a use case that's in your business. And what he did is he sat there and he typed in, his use case was something around the social impact or the environmental impact of a capital project. So he typed all this in, and it built in front of him the entire the workflows. It built the personas. It built prototypes, it built the data models, it built the integration points, and the look on his face, he just sat there and thought, blimey, this is incredible. And I've got multiple stories like that, and I think that's what I love about it, is it makes the experience of actually showing the art of the possible so much easier. It's incredible.
Now, John, we've been quite open about our aspiration that your sellers will actually use Blueprint in their selling motion, independent of Pega sellers. Obviously, we want to co-sell together in the orgs that we have targeted. But I mean, tell me about how you're feeling about the journey to what we call autonomous partner selling.
What it's made us do is really relook at how Coforge sells, the types of people that we have in front of our customers. We've always had incredibly strong SMEs within our delivery organizations, but what we've actually done is we've pivoted our solutions, our salespeople, so they themselves are experts and they can actually have those real rich conversations with customers. They understand the context, and I think that's something that's not really talked about too much. But with Blueprint, you have to have the context of the customer, the context of their problem, what they're trying to achieve. And if you can bring together the right type of salespeople with Blueprint, with a customer, get them ideating, the sale becomes a much shorter, much more effective, much more enriched experience for both the customer, for Coforge and Pega. And what it also means is it also helps from day one reduce the uncertainty that the outcome they're going to get is fit for purpose, because they can see it. They
can see it. I mean, instead of relying on the promise of a software company that did a few demos, and they can actually be part of the build. They're actually experiencing what it is like to deliver the solution that they want. It's tangible. They can put their hands on it. They can actually pretend like they're using it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so it is a radically different dynamic. So much so that we think that together, if we can drive this co-selling motion, we can actually change the way the world buys software, not just the way the world builds it.
Yeah, I'm just glad that I'm not a COTS product provider.
John, one of the big opportunities that I see for us together is something that we call legacy transformation. So when we take a look at the customers that we have, they're spending 60 to 80% of their IT budgets maintaining these 10, 20, 30, 40, sometimes even 50-year-old applications that are mission critical to their business, but in all honesty, kind of keep them in handcuffs in terms of how they would want to do business, because these systems are often closed and clunky and require people to engage with them. I believe that with Blueprint, we have the opportunity to take a look at those legacy systems, those outdated applications, and reimagine the way that they should be. You see, historically, what you would do is maybe have an AI tool read the dead legacy code, produce a document that would then be handed to developers to essentially rewrite that legacy application into a modern legacy application.
Yes.
But with Blueprint, we have the ability to completely reimagine and rethink how that work could get done. What do you think about that opportunity for us?
I think it's huge. If you think about it, you mentioned that word AI. Legacy gets in the way of AI. Without that transformation program, you're always going to be handcuffed as far as what you can achieve. AI point solutions maybe, but not enterprise-wide change. So I think the catalyst to drive legacy transformation is increasing, given what's going on in the world today. What I see with Blueprint AI in this space is that it removes a lot of the complexity. It makes it simple, it makes it intuitive. I mean, I remember being at the Pega World event last year, and there was that demo where you ingested the 5250 or 3290 green screens,
yes.
and the way it ingested those videos and actually used those as part of the process to actually create the forward-looking process, the use cases, the steps, the controls, the enrichment it provided, and the fact that you can iteratively do it as well, that you can continually enrich with more and more documents. I think it really does remove any sort of major concerns, and it's understandable. You know, you don't have to be technical to actually be a key part of that transformation journey. What it means you can also do is you can bring in your SMEs, your business people, your end users to be part of that transformation journey, and you remove that sort of here's a development team, a technician, here's a business user, somebody collects the requirements, passes it on in whatever methodology you're using, and brings it together into a one team structure, which can A, accelerate the transformation, B, ensure that the actual final outcome is the expected outcome in a much more shorter, agile way. And I think the other thing is the fact that you've got this full 360 that you can bring, so it never becomes legacy.
So John, one of the things that struck me when we did that demo is that as you took a look at the preview of user experiences, one of them was an agent that you could talk to out of the box.
Oh, incredible, yes.
So think about this. Every time you build a workflow in Pega, out of the box, it is agentic. That green screen application was built at a time in which you needed people to do the work, either to enter data or to move the workflow. But why are you building applications for people to do the work if an agent can engage with the application equally as well as a person? It actually makes you think about things a little differently. John, thank you so incredibly much for spending the time with us, and the partnership has been outstanding, and I look forward to working with you very closely in the future.
Thank you, Leon. To me, you have a partner. There's Coforge, there's Pega, and we can talk a lot about what a true partnership is. But when the rubber hits the road and a partner such as Pega actually is there with you throughout a journey, come bad times, good times, always there saying, how can we help? That to me is what a partner is. And that's one thing I would like to say is Pega is a real true partner, and Coforge is very appreciative of
Thank you, John. Thank you so much.